You wanted it, you got it. What's going on, football fans? It's Mitch here, back with another NFL video, a video that I have never done. That's right. In this video, I predict every single NFL week and every single NFL regular season game for the 2024 NFL season. A one-stop shop for the NFL and 2024. What do I think about your team? How many games do I think your team realistically will win? I'm not even really going to look at how each team turned out here. I'm just going to pick every single game, and the results will be the results. So it's really a truth serum for the NFL and an experiment for myself. I haven't looked at the entire schedule. I don't really know who plays who. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Gronk, spike the like button, man. Subscribe for more great NFL content just like this. And hop in the comments and let me know what you think of my picks. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Obviously, you're not going to agree with what? All 272 picks? So let me know in the comments what you think. And if there's someone out there that wants to keep track of every record for every team and put it in the comments, that would be incredible. But I'm going to save the results of how every team actually did for other future videos when I actually predict every record. This is more about going through the individual games and giving you my pick for the individual games. Okay? So now that we understand, let's have some fun, man. Let's shake it up. Let's do something different. And let's begin with NFL Week 1. Don't forget to Gronk spike the like button, man. Let's go. All right, here is your NFL schedule for Week 1. And we're using the NFL Predictor website. I'll leave the link in the description so you guys can do it yourself if you like. Week number 1, September 5th through September 9th. The first game of the season is the Kansas City Chiefs at home taking on the Baltimore Ravens. I have to go with the champs here in this game. I just feel like, how could you not go with the champs here in this game? They're going to reveal the new banner. They're looking for a three-peat. And that defensive game plan from Spags, I just felt like they did such a great job being sticky in the secondary, matching up with the Ravens receiving core, really making life difficult on Lamar, sending pressures from all different angles, the way that Spags can be creative with his blitz packages. And offensively, Mahomes, Kelsey, Pacheco running the ball. I think they're going to have more rhythm to begin this season than they did last year, even if they're without Rashee Rice. I think Marquise Brown right away has maybe a revenge game here of sorts in this game. And I'm not going to spend this much time on every single 272 games, but this is obviously the kickoff game, a huge game, very important to the AFC. Looking forward to seeing Derrick Henry play the Chiefs in this matchup and how he looks as a Baltimore Raven, but I got to lean towards the Chiefs. If the Ravens are going to win, they're going to have to change up their strategy. Run the ball more, attack the middle of the field with their tight ends against the Chiefs safeties and linebackers, and defensively, I think they're going to have to be more creative, maybe be more willing to play man coverage. So that's going to be a big game. Cincinnati Bengals and the New England Patriots. My New England Patriots, I'm going to spend a little bit more time on the Patriots games as well, because obviously my team, but I'll be coming out with a record prediction video and a breakdown of each schedule for each team. So don't worry about that. I'll get even more in depth within these games and each matchup and what I like and what I dislike about each matchup for each team. But in terms of this game, I think you got to go with the Bengals. They have not been good in Week 1 as of late with Joe Burrow in this era. But what I will say, this might be the easiest matchup they've ever had. This is a Patriots team that does have a strong defense, and I do think will give the Bengals offense a bit of fits, especially with, all the different coverages they can play, all the different scheme they can really throw at you. From a coverage standpoint, you don't really know if it's going to be man, zone, if it's too high, if it's single high, the way that they can change up their pressure looks and things. So I think the Patriots can hang in this game thanks to their defense and maybe a turnover or two that they can sneak up on Joe Burrow coming off of a pretty major injury, having his first real test in a long time playing NFL football. But the Bengals are just the better team. They've got more to go with on offense, more playmakers to come through in those big moments. And then defensively, they're pretty sound and they have a lot of chemistry. There's a lot of the same players that have been there for a long time within the same defense. And I think that will definitely help them get the edge, their defense, over the Patriots offense. That's going to have new offensive linemen, new receivers, new quarterback in Jacoby Brissett, new offensive coordinator. So a lot of new for the New England Patriots in week number 1. The third matchup is the Jacksonville Jags at the Miami Dolphins. This one is tricky. I really think that it could be an either way type of game. Here, Jacksonville's defensive line is going to have to win them this game if they want to go into Miami and win it. But I'm going to stick with the home team here. I'm just going to lean towards Miami in a very even matchup in my book. I think that Miami, they'll just have more in terms of, okay, Mike McDaniel in week 1. What is he going to bring to the table, and can Jacksonville stop it? Because I just think that's a different dimension that is unaccounted for. Like, stopping Miami in a week 1 with a full offseason of Mike McDaniel in the lab with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, now OBJ, right? Jonnu Smith, a new weapon for him, the running backs. Yes, Miami will be beat up on defense, and this has a chance to be a shootout, but I think I got to lean towards the home team. The Houston Texans at the Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to lean Texans here. I don't necessarily think the Texans are going to sweep the Colts, but just in this game, I think the single factor, to keep it brief, is that Anthony Richardson has not played a lot of football, and CJ Stroud clearly outclasses him. So I think just to simplify everything, I think the Texans are the better roster, better team, but they'll also have the more experienced quarterback. So I'm just going to go with the Texans, and maybe later in the season, the Colts will even it up. The Las Vegas Raiders at the Los Angeles Chargers. I don't know who's going to be playing quarterback for the Raiders, to be quite honest. I do think, though, there's going to be an initial Jim Harbaugh surge for the Chargers. So I'm going to go Chargers at home here, although the Raiders in Los Angeles, that's kind of like their home game. But I like the Jim Harbaugh boost effect. Like, I think the Chargers are going to have, obviously, Justin Herbert, a pretty good offensive line. I think a defense that won't really be sliced and diced by an underwhelming quarterback position of the Raiders. And a lot of new pieces on the offensive line for the Raiders as well. So it'll be intriguing to see how the Chargers are able to create some pressure with maybe a healthy Joey Bosa for once. I'm also interested to just see the Chargers defense this year. The Tennessee Titans at the Chicago Bears. This is Caleb Williams' first game in the NFL. I think this has a upset potential. I think Tennessee could definitely go into Chicago and win. So thinking about this game, I feel like obviously a lot of pressure on Caleb Williams. What's the offensive line going to look like? The receiving core gaining chemistry with Caleb. I assume he's going to get quite a few preseason reps to get that chemistry with Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, and DJ Moore. There is a good secondary in Tennessee that I think can match up and cover the Bears. One of the few in football. I like their corners quite a bit. And there's a couple disruptive players in the front seven that could create havoc for Caleb. On the other side, the Bears at home on defense should be pretty solid. I don't think their pass rush is overwhelming, but they do have good linebackers, one really awesome corner, and overall solid defense. So this one's pretty tricky, honestly. Like, I could see this going either way. I'm actually going to go with the upset just for the sake of it. I actually like how Tennessee matches up with Chicago. Bears fans probably going to hate me for this, but I'm going to go with the Titans. We'll see how the Chicago season unfolds. The Pittsburgh Steelers at the Atlanta Falcons. Kirk Cousins' first game in the NFL as a Atlanta Falcon, and it's a debut for him off the Achilles. So we don't really know how he's going to look off the Achilles. Now, it's also an Arthur Smith revenge game. Russell Wilson should be pretty prepared to play in this game as he is a veteran of the quarterback position. There should be not a lot of worry. The Steelers will have a new and improved offensive line, but how fast will that trigger for them? Their defense will be fully healthy, should be able to give the Falcons front a pretty good game there. That's going to be a battle. The Atlanta offensive line and the Pittsburgh defensive line, that's going to be a good one. Drake London versus the big Porter on the outside. Can Kyle Pitts get involved in this game against somebody like Minka and Pat Queen in the middle? Mike Tomlin, proven coach, proven entity. Russell Wilson, not really great anymore, but still he's healthy entering this year. Cousins dealing with a rookie coach, rookie offense, new offensive stuff, new defensive stuff for Atlanta. I'm just going to lean towards the more proven entity in this game, and I'm going to go with Pittsburgh, although I definitely could see Atlanta winning this game. Buffalo Bills at home over Arizona. That's pretty obvious. I'm just going to go with Josh Allen to take care of business against a pretty underwhelming defense. Nothing else really has to be said. I think Kyler could create pretty, a lot of excitement. I think there was a really good game. Was it a Hail Mary or something? Was that the D-Hop game a few years ago where he caught a Hail Mary and they beat the Bills? That was wild. That was in Arizona. So the Bills, they will have some new pieces on offense, a receiver, new pieces on defense, but a lot of them are veterans. Not a lot of them are young. And I think the Bills will be ready to rock. In Buffalo, that's a really tough place to play, especially for a Western type of team. So I'm going to go for the Bills here. Denver Broncos at the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to go with the Seahawks. Mike McDonald, I think, makes an immediate impact against a big-name offensive mind. Obviously, Bo Nix is going to have to play. Probably Bo Nix, maybe Zach Wilson. Either way, or Jared Stidham. Who knows? But probably Bo Nix, I would say. Now, that being said, a rookie going into Seattle. I've been there. 12th man is a real deal. It's really loud, and they're going to be really excited for this team. I also think Seattle has plenty of weapons to get the ball to. Geno is a professional at this point, can take care of business at home. I definitely think Seattle should be favored in that game. Dallas Cowboys at the Cleveland Browns. We're going to go with the... Man, this is tough. It's in Cleveland, though. I actually thought this game was in Dallas. That's how much I know, but I'm going to lean Cleveland. I think their defense at home, different. Last year, they were like the best defense at home in football. And then when they played away, they were kind of a lot more suspect. But that D-line against the Dallas Cowboys' young offensive line, that spells trouble for me, especially Myles Garrett. Plus, they've got some pretty good corners to match up with CeeDee Lamb. And then on the other side, I think their run game can get after the Cowboys. So I think that's a really tough matchup for the Cowboys to start the year. Monday Night Football. The San Francisco 49ers at home against the Jets. 49ers will win this game. I'm sorry, Jets fans. 49ers are a very just professional organization. Like, they're going to be ready to rock. Their defense has a lot of rapport. Their offense has a very firm grasp of what they are. All their players are back from last year. It was the number one offense in football. The Jets, on the other hand, new offensive line, kind of new recipe offensively. We've never actually seen Aaron Rodgers play more than 3 plays within this Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall Jets offense with Hackett running the show. I think they're going to struggle a little bit against the Niners, especially their front. And I think that the Niners are going to be able to find the way to control the football and score enough points to win, even though the Jets defense is real tough. So Niners should take care of business there. The NFC matchups for week 1, we've got the Packers at the Eagles. This game's in Brazil. Ooh, this one is tough, man. I think it comes down to which coaching staff can kind of have a grasp of their team early in the season. Obviously, the Eagles will have new aspects for them on offense and defense from a scheme perspective. Both offensive lines are really good. I would say the Eagles probably have a slight edge there in terms of chemistry, especially on offense. Saquon is a new element, but he's a running back. The Packers could create some explosive plays against a pretty underwhelming Eagles secondary, but how much better could they be this year? That's an interesting, what's Vic Fangio going to bring here against Matt LaFleur? That's also pretty interesting. This one is a complete toss-up. I would not advise betting this just because of the unknown factor here, especially the game being in Brazil. I'm going to lean towards the Eagles just because I think they're the slightly more talented team. I think they've got more chemistry, especially on offense. And I could see them kind of controlling the offense, like controlling the game through their ground game, kind of matriculating the ball down the field, keeping the ball out of Jordan Love's hands, maybe Love forcing it a little bit too much if the Eagles get a lead. So that's kind of how I see the game going right now. The Panthers at the Saints. I'm going to go Saints at home, Superdome, pretty hostile environment for young in his first game in his second season. There's a lot of new aspects for the offense of the Panthers, receivers, offensive linemen. Saints do have some new areas, especially offensive coordinator and that sort of stuff, but they're the more talented team. They're at home. They have the better quarterback. I'm going to go with the Saints. The Minnesota Vikings at the New York Giants. I don't know. Honestly, both great coaching staffs. This game's obviously in New York, outdoors. This is obviously the terrible turf of MetLife. Malik Neighbors introduced to this game, playing a fellow LSU great receiver in Justin Jefferson. J.J. McCarthy could be starting in this game, or it could be Sam Darnold in a revenge of New York. If it's Sam Darnold, honestly, I'd probably give the Vikings a better chance to win this game just because he's a professional playing on the road, not a rookie. Defensively, Brian Flores, what is he going to bring to Daniel Jones? That could be a tough matchup for the Giants' offensive line. And then also their run game could really struggle. I'm going to lean to the Vikings, but I'm not exactly sure. I just think they have the overall better coaching. And I think the matchup of Brian Flores against a pretty suspect offensive line is a pretty big disadvantage for the Giants. So I'm going to go with the Vikings. The Commanders at the Bucks. I'm going to go Bucks. The Commanders, a lot of new players, new coaching everywhere, new quarterback. Bucks are at home. They've got a lot of chemistry coming into this year. Baker Mayfield is a proven good quarterback, and they've got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, champions across the board on offense and defense. Bucks will win that game. Los Angeles Rams at the Detroit Lions. This game is going to be a lot of fun. I think it could very well turn out to be very similar to last year's game, where the Rams and the Lions go back and forth offensively, but the Lions defense just manages to make one more play than the Rams, especially the game being in Detroit. It's hard for me to imagine the Lions losing the first game of the year in their building. So I'm going to say, without Aaron Donald, the Rams just don't have that firepower on defense to make that key sack, key strip, key play for them to win that game. So that's my week 1 results. I'm going to be a little bit faster here, so this video is not 5 hours long, but we're going to go week 2. All right. The Buffalo Bills at the Miami Dolphins. This game is in Miami. Always extremely difficult to play in Miami early in the season. Buffalo and Miami I want to say Buffalo has beaten them more often than not in this Josh Allen Tua era of the AFC East, but Miami has gotten them a couple times, especially in Miami when the heat is really a factor. Now, it is a Thursday night though, so it's not like during the day. So the heat should be humid, but maybe not as hot. My biggest question is I think the Bills are significantly better on the line of scrimmage. I think they're also significantly better at quarterback. But I would not be shocked if Miami was able to win this game. I also wonder how a Thursday night game might impact the speed of Miami, right? Having to recover faster. Because Miami is all about speed, and just a shorter week, I don't know. That might actually play a factor into this game. This one is a toss-up for me. It's an AFC East battle. It could go either way. I definitely think Miami needs to win this game, though. So, man, it's tricky. I don't know who's going to be playing for Miami's front seven. That's also a huge factor. I don't know. This one's tough. I want to pick Miami, but I'm just not sure I can trust them. So I'm going to go with the Bills. I don't know. I can't trust them. The Jets at the Titans. I'm going to go with the Jets here. I just think they're the more talented team. Their defense is going to give the Titans a lot of issues. And I think Aaron Rodgers has to win that game. That's a huge game for them. I know it's in Tennessee. It will not be easy. But I think the Jets' defense will win them this game. I also think that the Jets should be able to run the ball a bit with Breece Hall. And yeah, that's not going to be an easy game, though. I would not be surprised if Tennessee won. The Cleveland Browns at the Jacksonville Jags. Cleveland's defensive line is going to be tough for Jacksonville, but as I said, they've been a lot worse on the road. Last year, their defense was a lot worse on the road. Jacksonville, this is a really good game, by the way. Jacksonville's offense, they've got a lot of different weapons, right? Christian Kirk, will he be 100%? Evan Ingram attacking the middle of the field. Travis Etienne. Brian Thomas Jr. could play a big role here. But defensively, I think Jacksonville, again, Cleveland going to Jacksonville, humid, right? Middle of the Sunday. Jacksonville will be used to that heat. They just played in Miami last week. I think Jacksonville wins that game in the second half They wear down Cleveland's defense. They start to create some big plays. Doug Peterson does his thing with the play calling, and Trevor Lawrence comes out on top against Deshaun Watson, the Clemson battle. Raiders at the Ravens. Ravens win. I can't see them going 0-2 here. Lamar Jackson, MVP, looking in form there. I think the Ravens have every bit of toughness and grit. This is not a good matchup for the Raiders. They need to win with toughness. They need to win with grit. The Ravens are as gritty and tough as they get, and they're just more skilled. So I think the Ravens defense gives the Raiders offense a lot of issues, and Lamar comes through. Steelers at the Broncos. I'm going to actually say the Broncos upset the Steelers. I don't really know why. It's Sean Payton beating Russell Wilson just for the giggles, but honestly, it's really hard to win in Denver early in the season. It's historically like the most difficult place to play in September due to the altitude, the humidity, and all that stuff. And then on top of that, you've just got a new offense for the Steelers that's probably going to have to be in a grinded out game. And Denver can kind of make this game really ugly and win it in the fourth quarter, like 17-14 or something like that. And I could see the Broncos gritting that one out. So I'm going to say the upset happens there in Denver. Cincinnati at Kansas City. Ooh, boy. The Bengals have not been great early in the year in recent seasons, as I brought up. The Chiefs have been up and down early in the year in recent seasons. This is a great matchup. I think this will be, really close. I think Kansas City, if Rashee Rice is not playing, that's really going to hurt them in this game. I would also say that for Cincinnati, what does Joe Burrow look like? We're going to get a really good sense of that in week 1 against New England, right? Because New England's defense is really good, and they're every bit as good as Kansas City's. So we're going to really see how good Cincinnati's offense is going to be early in the year. I'm actually going to go with the Bengals here. I am. I'm going to pander towards the Bengals fans here. If the Chiefs fans were supporting the BLV, maybe I'd go with the Chiefs. But they just have the number of the Chiefs, and I think that the Chiefs could lose one of the first 2 games, and I'm going to lean with the Bengals. They're just not intimidated by Arrowhead, and I think Kansas City will have their early season struggles as they typically do. The Bengals, their offensive line should be ready to rock for this game. I think their offensive line is going to be a big difference maker to provide time for Joe Burrow and allow him to make some scramble drill plays that end up winning them the game. Jamar Chase is going to be a problem without L'Jarius Sneed. The Colts at the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to go with the Packers. I'm sorry, Colts fans. I just think the Packers are better. It's in Lambeau. It's the home opener for the Packers. It's a very hard game to win. Right? It's a very hard game to win. First game in Lambeau. I don't even have to explain that, I don't think. Then we've got the Los Angeles Chargers at the Panthers. Thinking about this one, I think that if the Panthers are able to run the ball here, this could be kind of a sneaky upset type of game, but I'm just going to go Justin Herbert is better than Bryce Young. I'm not really going to second guess it. And again, her early season Harbaugh, I think they start 2-0. Then we got the Seahawks at the Patriots. Mike McDonald, 2 of the best, schemed defenses in football. Jacoby Brissett, I'm kind of intrigued to see how Seattle would travel to New England. West Coast to East Coast is probably pretty challenging for them. And I actually think the Patriots' defensive line would be pretty tough for the Seattle Seahawks in this game. So I'm going to actually go with the Patriots here as one of their first wins of the season. I think they beat the Seahawks in a really close game, like 21-17. I think they've got the tools on defense to really give Geno a tough time, especially with the pass rush. The Seahawks offensive line, I don't think will be traveling well this year. They're not very talented. And on the other side, I don't think their defense is amazing or anything. They're not going to totally destroy the Patriots offense. Patriots should be able to run the ball a little bit, play action, make some plays. So I think New England will win that game. Chicago Bears at the Houston Texans. I'm going with the Texans. The Texans are at home. They've got obviously the better quarterback, the more experienced quarterback for sure. But this should be a duel back and forth. Could be a lot of fun. But I think that the Texans' pass rush, especially at home, is going to be a problem for the Bears in the big moments of this game, especially on third down. So I'm going to go with the Texans. The San Francisco 49ers at the Minnesota Vikings. 49ers. They lost to the Vikings last year in Minnesota. That's not going to happen 2 years in a row, especially post Kirk Cousins. The New Orleans Saints at the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to go with Dallas. I don't think they start 0-2. I think Dallas is going to win that game. It's at home. The Saints pass rush has not been overwhelming, which should not give the Dallas Cowboys at home too many issues. The secondary of the Saints is very solid, though. There will be a lot of good matchups out there, but Dak Prescott, with time, should be able to dice up any defense. And then on the other side, the Dallas defense is still pretty overwhelming in the front seven. Their ability to rush the quarterback, get into Derek Carr's lap, and be able to cause some mistakes could be the difference, on top of Chris Olave having to deal with Trayvon Diggs. So, yeah, I like that matchup for Dallas. New York Giants at the Washington Commanders. I'm going to go with the Giants in this game. I'm probably going to pick the Commanders in the second matchup, but I just think the Giants, they've got like the more kind of like cohesive team early in the season. The Commanders are going to struggle early, I think, and maybe get a little bit better towards the end of the season. There's just so many different pieces, so many new pieces. Jaden Daniels, obviously. If Daniel Jones cannot win this game, he should be fired on the spot. I'm just going to be honest. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Detroit Lions. I'm going to go with Detroit. I think Detroit handled Tampa pretty well last year in terms of both the playoff game and the regular season. I wouldn't be shocked if Tampa gave the Lions a good game, but I just think the Lions are the better team, especially on offense. They're better coordinated. There's less questions about their offense. I think they'll be able to just mix in the run enough, but this is going to be on Jared Goff to be able to spread it out and shred it. And I don't think the Bucs have the secondary to match up with the Lions. I think that's going to be a challenge for them. And I think that the Lions have better pieces in the secondary to match up Carlton Davis revenge game against Mike Evans and company. The Los Angeles Rams at the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to go with the Rams here. They've pretty much owned the Cardinals in this matchup in the past. So I feel bad for not picking the Cardinals a little bit there because it is a divisional matchup at home, but this is Stafford early in the year, healthy with all his weapons against a really bad defense. The Falcons at the Eagles. I'm going to go with the Eagles. Monday night in Philly. I don't have to say a lot more than that. Really tough place to play. Rocky Balboa will be in attendance. All right, week number 3. We've got the New England Patriots at the New York Jets. Thursday nighter for the Jets in New York. If the Jets don't win that game, they're in major trouble, so I'm going to go with the Jets there. The Chargers at the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to go with the Steelers. I think that's going to be a tough game for the Chargers. I just think, physically speaking, the Chargers are going to be a tough team. They're going to try and grind out games, and I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball. I think they're going to have trouble blocking the Steelers, and I think overall the Chargers defense, it's just not talented enough to like overwhelm the Steelers offense. I think the Steelers will be able to run the ball, set up play action. Arthur Smith will find a way, and I think Russ will make some big plays. So I'm going to go Steelers. I like that matchup for Pittsburgh. Jacksonville at the Bills. I'm going to go Bills, Monday Night Football, Bills Mafia. Tough. Josh Allen versus Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen, the quarterback, comes out on top. Green Bay Packers at the Tennessee Titans. This is a Matt LaFleur revenge game. I'm going to go Packers. I just think they're the better team overall. I do think the Titans, again, like the first 3 weeks of the season, they play some good teams, but I think they could really give teams good games. Like, just the way it's setting up for them, especially in Tennessee. It's a very tricky place to play, but I think Green Bay gets up for that game because it's a Matt LaFleur type of revenge game. I also think that just the balance of their offense is very tough to stop, and the pass rush that the Green Bay Packers also have, on top of having some decent corners to match up with Tennessee's receivers, I think that's a tough game for the Titans. Texans at the Vikings. The Texans should not lose this game, so I'm going to go with the Texans. They're just the much better team with the like humongous edge at quarterback. The Bears at the Colts. I'm going to go with the Colts here. So that's good. The Bears fans are going to hate me right now. But I'm going to go with the Colts. Colts are at home. Both young quarterbacks. I think Richardson's starting to get a feel back for the NFL game, and I think they've got the advantage. This is obviously an Eberflus revenge game, so remember that. But I will say that the Colts offensive line, very solid. The Colts defensive line, I think, very solid. So they're better at the line of scrimmage, and I just think that they'll do a little bit more in terms of their defense at home with that crowd noise. Then you've got the Denver Broncos at the Tampa Bay Bucks. Bucks will win that game against probably the worst team in the NFL. They're at home. They'll start 2-1. New York Giants at the Browns. That's Browns easy. You got the Miami Dolphins at the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to go Seattle. That's going to be a tough game for Miami. Miami, I don't think, is going to be able to block Seattle all that well in Seattle with the crowd noise. It's a East Coast to West Coast trip. It's a lot of weapons everywhere, but I think Mike McDonald will have answers to the test when it comes to playing Mike McDaniel. So I'm going to go Seattle there. Then you got Carolina at the Raiders. I'm going to go Raiders to win that game. That should be their first win of the season. I think both teams, that should be a gritty, grinded out affair, but I think the Raiders just have more in terms of defensive and offensive line talent, and the quarterback play should be about the same. Plus, the Raiders got a couple big-time playmakers to rely on. The Ravens at the Cowboys. I'm going to go Ravens. I just think they're the better team with better coaching, better quarterback. The offensive line of the Ravens could struggle, and I think the Cowboys have really good, the Ravens are going to struggle potentially with DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, like the speed and all that of the Cowboys defense, but Derrick Henry might be the difference in that game. The sledgehammer effect playing the Cowboys could be a big difference. The Chiefs at the Atlanta Falcons, I kind of want to go with the Falcons here in an upset. But I can't imagine the Chiefs starting 1-2. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I just think their defense, like when you compare each defense, this could be kind of a shootout. If the Falcons play their best game, it could be kind of a shootout. But when you compare the Chiefs defense to the Falcons defense, it's no contest. And then you compare Andy Reid in a primetime spot against a rookie staff. It's just really hard for me to believe that the Falcons are going to come out on top in the fourth quarter, despite it maybe being close. The Commanders at the Bengals, that's easy. Bengals by 20. Then you've got the Eagles at the Saints. I could see the Saints winning this game. I think that's an interesting matchup, but I think the Eagles are a lot better at the line of scrimmage. And what I know about Dennis Allen's defense is he's always struggled with Jalen Hurts. He's always struggled with the running quarterback. So I'm going to go with the Eagles. San Francisco at the Los Angeles Rams. I kind of want to pick the Rams here. Like, I think they should beat the Niners once this year. So I'm going to say they beat the Niners. Usually, McVay kind of is owned by the Niners. So it is what it is. But I'm going to say that they win one against the Niners this year for shaking it up sake. Then you've got the Cardinals at home against the Lions. This is a game I kind of want to pick the upset in. But my problem is that the Lions are so much better on the offensive line than the Cardinals are on the defensive line, that it could be like really tough. So unless Kyler Murray comes through with a lot of big time plays down the field to Marvin Harrison, I just don't see how they win. So I'm going to go with the Lions. That's week number 3. Week number 4, we got a pretty good pace going now. Jacksonville at the Houston Texans. I'm going to go Texans at home over Jacksonville. So undefeated start continues for the Texans. I just think that highly of the Texans. I think it's going to be really hard for the Jags secondary to match up with the Texans receivers. I think that is the biggest difference in that game. And then the Jags blocking the Texans on the road is also going to be tough. Steelers at the Colts. I kind of like the Colts in this game. I'm thinking about it though. Yeah, I think I like the Colts. I think that at the line of scrimmage, it's a stalemate. I think Richardson is probably going to be more explosive than Russ. I also feel like the Colts D-line is going to be a challenge for the Steelers offensive line. They've got more weapons with the Colts. I'm going to go Colts. Broncos at the Jets. Jets, I think that this is a Hackett revenge game for obvious reasons, and the Broncos are just going to not... I don't know how they score on the Jets. I really don't know. So I'm going to go with the Jets in New York. Chiefs at the Chargers. I'm going to go Chiefs in a close game. I think it will be close, but I'm going to go Chiefs. Browns at the Raiders. That's a good game because the Raiders and the Browns are both very physical teams. The Browns are more talented, but I could see the Raiders beating them. Like, I could see the Raiders making some plays with Brock Bowers, Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers. That's a difficult team to match up with. They can run the ball really well, kind of grind it out. And the Raiders' D-line is a challenge with Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins. The Browns are a better, more talented team, though. So I'm going to go Browns, but I don't love it. Bills at the Ravens. The Bills have played the Ravens really well in recent history. McDermott plays Lamar very well. His scheme matches up very well. Josh Allen doesn't have a lot of weapons, though, to work with against the Ravens. But the one thing I will say is their pass rush, the Ravens, is not great. That being said, it's in Baltimore, and this could be one of those games where the Bills just don't have enough weapons to overcome. The Ravens have more weapons. So I'm going to go Baltimore there. Tennessee at Miami. This is on a Monday night. I think Miami gets revenge on Monday Night Football for last year's loss. Should be a really fun game, though. Cincinnati at Carolina. Are you kidding me? The New England Patriots at the 49ers. 38-3. The Dallas Cowboys at the New York Giants. I'm going to go with the Cowboys, although that could be an upset watch. Definitely don't rule out the Giants. You know what? I might actually pick the Giants. That might be one that I switch on my record prediction for the Giants, but I am going to go with the Cowboys for now. Don't rule it out, though. Vikings at the Packers. We're going to go Green Bay. Rams at the Chicago Bears. This is a really good game. I'm going to go with the Bears. I don't know why. I just have a feeling. I think that they're finally going to win one, and Caleb Williams is going to put on a show. At home against the Rams, LA, USC, Keenan Allen, LA team. I think they're going to shred the Rams secondary. That's my guess. The Philadelphia Eagles at the Tampa Bay Bucks. Bucks are going to beat the Eagles again. Why not? The New Orleans Saints at the Atlanta Falcons. We're going to go with the Falcons getting a win there. What would be a breakdown for that? I think Atlanta's offensive line should be able to dictate the game on offense. And then at home, they should have an edge with the Saints having to travel in terms of their offensive line, traveling to a dome environment. The Falcons should be able to disrupt. And A.J. Terrell, Chris Olave, decent matchup there. Jesse Bates, a lurking safety in the middle. Got to deal with that. I do worry about the Falcons' pass rush, in any game. And that might be one where the Saints can outduel them and beat them in a shootout. But this is the type of game I kind of see like a 30-27 for the Falcons. Commanders at the Cardinals. I'm going to go Cardinals. Basically, Jaden Daniels versus Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray versus himself. Just a worse version. I'm going to go Kyler Murray. Seattle Seahawks at the Detroit Lions. I'm going to go Detroit on Monday Night Football to avenge their loss from last year. They lost at home to Seattle. I think Seattle will give them a good game. I just think Detroit, again, Seattle, I worry about their offensive line on the road, especially against good teams with good pass rushes. Lions can get pressure. Week 5, the Bills at the Houston Texans. I say the Texans make a statement. I say the Texans win that game. I think their pass rush is going to be tough. I don't know if the Bills have a weapon that's really going to give the Texans a huge problem. And I don't think the Bills' defense is going to be able to. I think Joe Mixon has a big game here. I think they run the ball well, and that sets up Stroud to have success against the Bills' secondary. The Colts at Jacksonville. I'm going to go with Jacksonville. It's at home divisional game. I know the Colts have played the Jags very well, but that's just what I'm going to do. Then we've got the Ravens at the Bengals. I'm going to go Cincinnati in this one. I think this is a huge game, obviously, but Cincinnati at home, they shouldn't lose to the Ravens there. They shouldn't. They're even teams, pretty even, but I think the Bengals, in their environment, they should take that game. Patriots hosting the Dolphins. I'm going to go with New England because I want them to finally beat Tua. I have no other reason. The Las Vegas Raiders at the Broncos. The Raiders swept the Broncos last year. I'm going to go with the Raiders. Why not? Jets at the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going to go with the Jets are a lot more talented than the Vikings. The Jets should beat the Vikings. But you never know. I just think whoever's at quarterback, this could be a Sam Darnold revenge game. Whoever's at quarterback for the Vikings, though, aren't they just going to get overwhelmed by the Jets' defense? That's kind of what I think. The Browns at the Commanders. The Browns should win. They should win this game. But I don't know. The Cowboys at the Steelers. Ooh. I'm going to go Steelers. That's their type of game. It's in Pittsburgh. Hard to win in Pittsburgh. Good pass rush. Good defense. They can run the ball against Dallas. I think that's the formula. Saints at the Chiefs. Chiefs, forget about it. Bucks at the Falcons. I'm going to go Falcons to beat the Bucks at home on Thursday night. The Panthers at the Bears. The Panthers really want to win this game, but I don't think they're going to. The Cardinals at the Niners. Giants at the Seahawks. Packers at the Rams. Ooh, boy. Stafford at home against this Green Bay defense. I think Green Bay is better. Like, I think they've got more talent overall, like less headaches on their roster. That being said, McVay knows LaFleur really well. Can the Rams run the ball on the Packers, keep them on their toes? It's in LA. I'm going to give Stafford the edge there, so I'll go Rams. That's tough, though. I think if it was in Green Bay, I'd probably pick the Packers. Next up, the Colts at the Titans. I'm going to go Tennessee to beat the Colts at home. Texans at the Patriots. Give me the Texans. We've got the Steelers at the Raiders. Give me the Raiders. Don't know why. Just feel like the Raiders will win that game. That is going to be like 9-6 Raiders. Okay? They also beat Russ twice last year. Just saying. Chargers at the Broncos. I'm going to say the Broncos beat the Chargers once. I just have a feeling. Just going to go with the Broncos there. Buffalo at the Jets. The Jets have done a very good job against Josh Allen. They just know the formula to beat them, and this is a revenge game for Aaron Rodgers, assuming he's healthy at this point in the season. This is a big game for the Jets. They're going to be super hype. New York is going to be on fire. I'm going to go with the Jets. The Jags at the Bears. So, I like the Bears here. I think the D-line of the Jags could maybe give some issues, but I think the depth of the Bears receiving core is going to give the Jags secondary some problems. It's kind of a murky weather situation with the Bears at this point in the season, kind of midway through, that kind of October schedule. So Jacksonville will have to deal with that. Trevor Lawrence against a pretty solid defense, and Matt Eberflus ran. I like the middle of the field defense for Chicago against Jacksonville. I think there's a lot of good matchups for Chicago there. So I'm going to go with Chicago. Washington at Baltimore. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Commanders. Browns at the Eagles. I'm just going to go with the Eagles. They're at home. They've got the offensive line to protect against the Browns. Jalen Hurts is better than Deshaun Watson. And I don't think the Browns will be able to overwhelm the Eagles defense. Bengals at the Giants. The Bengals are a lot better than the Giants. The Bengals should not lose to the Giants, but this is one of those that maybe there could be an upset. I just think the Giants secondary does not have enough to contend with the Bengals, so I'm going to go with the Bengals there. San Francisco at Seattle. I have a feeling Seattle's going to win this game. So I'm going to go with Seattle. It's Thursday night. Mike McDonald's first appearance against Kyle Shanahan in the division. I think he gets it. Cardinals, and I know the San Francisco 49ers have swept the Seahawks 2 years in a row, but I think something changes in that game. Arizona at Green Bay. I'm going to go Green Bay. That game could be a lot of fun, though. Tampa Bay at New Orleans. I'm going to go New Orleans. Just divisional matchup. They'll probably split. Lions at the Cowboys. I think the Lions get revenge on the Cowboys. But the Cowboys could win that game. I think the Lions, though, will be able to run the ball on the Cowboys. Actually, you know what? Cowboys' offense is going to be tough for the Lions. Just when I think about it. But I think the Lions will get revenge. So I'm going to go there. Falcons at the Panthers. I think the Panthers upset the Falcons. They get their first win of the season. Okay, week 6 is done. Week 7, the New England Patriots at the Jacksonville Jags. This is really testing my stamina, by the way. Like, I'm having to think about each individual matchup. I'm going to go Jacksonville, and Jacksonville, really tough, kind of weird place to play for the Patriots. I think Jacksonville just has a better quarterback, better offense. That they'll come out on top. The Dolphins at the Colts. I'm going to go Colts beat the Dolphins at home. I think the Colts are better at the line of scrimmage, drastically better. I think they have a quarterback that can make some plays. Miami should be getting healthier on defense, but I think the ground game of the Colts gives the Dolphins some issues. Titans at Buffalo. I'm going to go with the Bills here. The Bengals at the Browns. I'm going to go Browns. They've owned the Bengals as of late. The Jets at the Steelers. I think Aaron Rodgers finds a way in that game. I don't know why. I kind of would lean towards the Steelers typically there, but I just don't see the Steelers scoring very much against the Jets. I think that's a really tough matchup for Pickens, for their run game. I don't see a lot of avenues for offensive success for the Steelers, and I think the Jets with Aaron Rodgers would just probably make less mistakes. So I'm going to go with the Jets. Broncos at the Saints on Thursday night. This could be a Sean Payton revenge game. I'm going to go Denver just for that fact. Texans at the Packers. Ooh. Okay, so Matt LaFleur, this is at home for Green Bay. I do think their weapons would give the Texans. They have a lot of different weapons. And the Texans are a dome team. They're going to have to go outdoors to Green Bay. Now, that being said, DeMeco Ryans and that Niners defense has always given Matt LaFleur a lot of issues. So that could be a problem. I want to pick Green Bay here. So I'm going to pick Green Bay, but I don't know. Raiders at the Rams. I'm going to go Rams. Although you never know. Raiders, that could be a home game for them. Raiders D-line could give the Rams some issues, but that improvement of their offensive line should help. Chiefs at the Niners. Oh, this is the big game. I'm going to go Niners. I think they finally beat the Chiefs in a game. Right? The Eagles beat the Chiefs last year. Don't forget that in the Super Bowl rematch. I think that there's just something to, like, you want that revenge. And this is not the Super Bowl. This is a regular season game. Chiefs don't quite have that same edge to them in this matchup. I think the San Francisco crowd puts them over the top for the win. Baltimore at Tampa on Monday night. This could be a challenging matchup for Baltimore because I think Todd Bowles does a really good job against quarterbacks that are similar to Lamar Jackson and how he contains them, how he blitzes them. The Ravens have a lot of issues with that type of defense. On the other side of the ball, the Ravens, I don't think will be able to run the ball over Tampa Bay, and they're going to have to really get the ball to their receivers, which I think is a challenge. So I actually really like this matchup for the Bucs, especially on a Monday night at home. So I'm going to go with Tampa. I think they're going to upset the Ravens there. Chargers at the Cardinals. This should be a shootout. Now, obviously, coaching edge goes to the Chargers. Quarterback edge goes to the Chargers, but it's not... Kyler is capable. I think the Cardinals have way more weapons than the Chargers do. And I don't think that the Chargers' weapons scare the Cardinals secondary. So I'm going to go Cardinals to find a way to win that game at home. Lions at the Vikings. I think the Vikings find a way to upset the Lions once this year. So I'm going to go with the Vikings. I have a lot of respect for them at home, especially with their coaching staff. So I'm going to say they take one of those games. The Seahawks at the Falcons. I'm going to go Atlanta. Although it should be pretty close. I think Atlanta has the edge with their offensive line. I also think that they should be able to run the ball on Seattle pretty effectively with Bijan Robinson. That should set some things up. On the other side of the ball, Seattle should be able to move the ball as well. But Raheem Morris kind of knows how to play Seattle. So I'm going to go with Atlanta. Eagles at the Giants. I'm going to say the Giants beat the Eagles once. Why not? The Commanders and the Panthers. I'm going to say the Commies get a win over the Panthers. Finally, I got to give them a win. They're at home. They should win that game. It's against maybe the worst team in football. Week number 8. The Colts at the Texans. We're going to go Texans, I think. Wait. Didn't I go with the Texans to beat the Colts in week 1? Do I want to go with the Texans to beat the Colts twice? It's a question. I think the Texans are definitively a better team. But it's a rivalry. It's a divisional game. So I'll go with the Colts. I'll go with the Colts, just for rivalry's sake. Ravens at the Browns. That is tough. Boy. Can the Browns run the ball on the Ravens? That is going to be the question. I do think their defense can play the Ravens pretty well. But I just have issues about Deshaun Watson in this game. But I'm going to pick the Browns. I am. The Jets at the Patriots. I think the Patriots beat the Jets once. Usually happens. Chiefs at the Raiders. That will probably be 9-6 in the pouring rain. Chiefs at the Raiders. The Raiders did beat the Chiefs last year, but this, I think, is the first matchup they play. I think the Chiefs win because they remember what happened last year to them. The Packers at the Jags. I'm going to go Jacksonville. I don't know why. I just like it. The Cardinals at the Dolphins. I'm going to go Miami in a high-flying, high-scoring game. Tennessee at the Lions. I'll go the Lions there. Bills at the Seahawks. Ooh. How will McDonald match up with Josh Allen? That is a good matchup. The Bills D-line against the Seahawks O-line, I don't think it's overwhelming. The Seahawks do have a pretty good receiving core, pretty decent secondary. I think Seattle is going to win that game. 27-24. Saints at the Chargers. I'll go... You know what? I don't know. That's tough. I think I just burped. I'm going to go Chargers. The Panthers at the Broncos. Oh my goodness. Who would want to watch this football game? I'm going to go Denver because they're at home, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'll go Panthers because F the Broncos. They suck. Yeah, let's go Panthers. Let's go Panthers, baby. Eagles at the Bengals. Ooh. That's a good game. Can the Eagles get pressure on the Bengals? Can the Eagles cover the Bengals? The Bengals' run defense will have a lot of issues probably in this game. But their secondary, I think, can match up decent. It's in Cincinnati. That's a tough one, man. That's a really tough game. I'm going to go Eagles because I think they're going to be able to run the ball in Cincy. The Giants at the Steelers. I'm going to go Steelers Monday night at home. Vikings at the Rams. Give me the Rams despite Kevin O'Connell's best effort. The Falcons at the Bucks. Give me the Bucks. The Bears at the Commies. I'm going to take Caleb over Jaden, although you never know. Cowboys at the Niners. Niners always win that game. So... that is week number 8. We're making our way through, guys. We're making our way through. Week number 9. Here we go. The Houston Texans at the New York Jets. I'm going to go with the Jets here. Thursday Night Football, short week, big game. Jets defense is ferocious. They really gave Stroud a tough time in that game last year. I'm going to go Jets, probably in pretty bad weather too. Patriots at the Titans. I'm going to go with Tennessee. They're just more talented, I think. Miami at the Bills. I'm going to go Buffalo at home. I think that's a sweep for them, though. The Raiders at the Bengals. I'm going to go Bengals. The Broncos at the Ravens. I'm going to go Ravens. The Chargers at the Browns. I'm going to go Cleveland. I don't think the Chargers are going to be able to play in Cleveland all that well. The Colts at the Vikings. I kind of like the Vikings here. I don't know why. Jacksonville at the Eagles. Doug Peterson revenge game. Bucks at the Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs. Monday night in Kansas City. Good luck, Baker. Washington at the Giants. Give me the Giants. Cowboys at the Falcons. Give me Dallas. Better team, I think. Saints at the Panthers. Give me Carolina, baby. Let's go Panthers. We're racking up the wins. Saints, or not the Saints. Bears at the Cardinals. Oh my gosh. That Marvin Harrison versus Caleb Williams. Bears are a better defensive team. I think that the speed of their defense would do a pretty good job against the Cardinals. I think the Bears would win. The Rams at the Seahawks. Seahawks will beat the Rams once this year. Mike McDonald factor. Lions at the Packers. Give me Green Bay. Give me Green Bay. Week number 10. The Ravens will beat the Bengals and even up the season series on Thursday Night Football. Justin Tucker game winner. Broncos at the Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs. The Bills at the Colts. I don't know why I like the Colts. The Titans at the Chargers. I like the Chargers there, I think. That's a tough one. Patriots at the Bears. This could be an arrogant Bears game, but I just don't think the Patriots have enough talent. Hopefully Drake May is playing this game, though, and we'll say that. The Steelers at the Commanders. I don't know why I think the Commanders are going to win. I don't know why. The Steelers lose to a team they never lose to or should lose to. And that's going to be the game right there. The Vikings at Jacksonville. Give me Jacksonville, although it should be a good game. Jets at the Cardinals. Give me the Jets. They're just a lot more talented. Give me the Lions at the Texans. Ooh, my goodness. Texans. I think that they'll be able to more consistently throw the ball, especially in their building. The Dolphins at the Rams. LA. East Coast, West Coast. Probably a lot of points. Dolphins defense getting healthier. Dolphins might be more talented, but I trust Stafford in that game more than Tua. I think McVay over McDaniel. That could go either way, though. Giants at the Panthers. I feel like I'm giving the Panthers too many wins, so I'm going to give the Giants that win. The Falcons at the Saints. I'm going to go Saints. The Niners at the Bucks. The Niners kind of destroy the Bucks every year, so I'm going to go with the Niners. The Eagles at the Cowboys. They should split, right? I'm going to say the Cowboys win their game at home. I like how the Cowboys play the Eagles when they play at home. They play with speed. That gives them a decisive edge. The Raiders at the Dolphins. I kind of like the Raiders, but I feel like I've been giving the Dolphins too many losses, so I'm going to go with Miami. The Ravens at the Steelers. This is a Steelers win. Just don't ask me why. The Bengals at the Chargers. Bengals are just better. The Chiefs at the Bills. I'm going to go Buffalo. The Colts at the Jets. That should be a great game, by the way, but Buffalo tends to beat them in Buffalo when it's in the regular season. And they probably want revenge for that loss. The Colts at the Jets. I like the Jets with that matchup. They should be able to work that secondary. Vikings at the Titans. Give me Tennessee. The Cleveland at New Orleans. That's tough. Why am I pausing on these mid games, bro? I don't know why. I like the Saints. I don't really like the matchup, but I just have a feeling. I don't know. I'm just going with my gut. The Rams at the Patriots. This is another one I kind of feel like the Patriots are going to win. I don't know why. Why do I think the Patriots are going to beat the Rams in my gut? I'm just going to go with it, bro. I don't know why. The Lions. The Broncos versus the Falcons. Give me the Falcons. The Texans at the Cowboys. The Texans are going to win that game. Monday Night Football. The Commanders at the Eagles. Give me the Eagles. The Packers at the Bears. I think the Bears beat the Packers once. The Seahawks at the Niners. Niners get revenge. Okay, we got every game? All right. Week 12. Let's speed it up. Let me know how you guys are doing. Say Brady in the comments if you've made it to week 12. The Steelers at the Browns. Give me Cleveland on Thursday night at home. That's tough. Dog pound. Tennessee at Houston. Give me Houston. New England in Miami, they're not going to beat Miami twice, especially in Miami. Denver at the Raiders. Raiders. Sweep. Ravens at the Chargers. The Ravens are just better. I'm going to go with the Ravens. Super Bowl, again, all over again. John beats Jim. Detroit at Indy. This is a good matchup. The Colts D-line and O-line matches up pretty solid against the Lions. The Lions are the more buttoned up team, though. I think they'll win that game. The Chiefs at the... the Vikings at the Bears. Give me Chicago. Tampa at the G-Men. I don't know why. I kind of have a feeling the Giants might win that game. But Mike Evans versus, like, who? Daniel Jones against pressure? Yeah, give me Tampa. Never mind. Dallas at Washington. Give me Dallas. Cardinals at the Seahawks. Give me Seattle. Niners in Green Bay in Week 12. Can Green Bay knock them off? I got to see it before I believe it. I'm going to go Niners. Eagles at the Rams. Ooh, boy. Eagles are more talented. There's no doubt about it. Their line of scrimmage play is much better. But the Rams got, I think, a better quarterback. I think they've got the better weapon, the better offensive scheme, and how they utilize their weapons. And it's in LA. But I think the Eagles are just better on paper. So I'm going to go Eagles. Week 13. The Raiders at the Chiefs. Black Friday, Raiders are going to win. Don't ask me why. Colts at the Patriots. F the Colts, bro. Steelers at the Bengals. Cincy. Texans at the Jags. Jags. I call it. Browns at the Broncos. Monday night. Zach Wilson? No, I'm just kidding. Browns are so much more talented, though. Like, yeah. I mean, the Dolphins at the Packers. I like Green Bay there. Chargers at the Falcons. Woo. Man. Falcons, I think they've got more weapons. These are tough, man. Seahawks at the Jets. Give me Seattle going west to east with that D-line. Give me the Jets. Titans against the Commanders. I think the Titans are better than the Commanders. This is a game the Commanders could win, but I don't know. I like the Titans. The Eagles at the Ravens. Man, that's going to be a good game. That's going to be physical. That's going to be blue collar. The Ravens got the corners, the size to match up with the Eagles. Their pass rush might not be able to really get home, but they've got a lot of different ways to pressure. The Ravens are, obviously, you got to deal with Lamar's speed, Derrick Henry, Ravens. Mark Andrews against these linebackers, that's the difference. Niners at the Bills. I think Josh Allen carries for a win. Don't ask why. He's just going to, have the best game of his season. The Bears at the Lions. I'm going to go Lions. Giants at the Cowboys. I kind of want the Giants to beat the Cowboys once, but I'm going to go Dallas. Cardinals at the Vikings. Give me the Vikings. Rams at the Saints. I kind of think the Saints are going to win. Shootout. I like the way the Saints secondary can match up with the Rams receivers. I also think that they won't really be able to get overwhelmed in the run game. And I also think that Derek Carr will have time to throw the ball in that game at home. Bucks at the Panthers. I'm going to say the Panthers beat the Bucks once. Week 14. The Jags at Tennessee. Give me Tennessee, baby. The Cleveland Browns at the Steelers. Give me the Steelers. The Jets at the Dolphins. Give me the New York. Miami swept them last year. Miami, warm weather in the colder months. Can Miami block the Jets? Is that... The Jets struggled with Miami last year, though, but it was because they had no quarterbacks. I don't know. Is Aaron Rodgers playing? Give me the Jets. The Chargers at the Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs to sweep them. The Raiders at the Bucs. Give me the Bucs in a gritty game. The Bills at the Rams. Oh my gosh. Bro, the Rams are playing a lot of tough games. East to West. Rams shouldn't be overwhelmed by the Bills offense, other than Josh Allen. And they just beat the Niners. So I'm going to go with the Rams. The Bengals at the Cowboys. I kind of like the Cowboys here. The Packers at the Lions. Falcons. I had the Packers beating them at home. I think they're going to split. That's a huge game. The Lions will be lit for that game. The Falcons at the Vikings. JJ will be playing at this point. This is a Kirk Cousins revenge game. I'm going to go Falcons. The Saints at the Giants. I'm going to go Saints. Better team. Panthers at the Eagles. I'm going to go Eagles. Seahawks at the Cardinals. Give me the Cardinals. They tend to beat the Seahawks once a year. The Bears at the Niners. Good luck, Caleb Williams. Week 15. The Dolphins at the Texans. The Bengals at the Titans. Callahan revenge game? Anyone? They've also got some personnel to match up with the Bengals. I'm going to go Tennessee. That familiar face, right? The Jets at the Jags. I liked how Doug Peterson schemed against Robert Saleh 2 years ago. It's just a random nugget. But I like the Jags. The Chiefs at the Browns. This could be a game the Chiefs lose. Cleveland later in the year, really ugly weather. If Deshaun doesn't play too bad, their defense can hang with the Chiefs for sure, and they can run the ball. So I'm going to give me Cleveland. Colts at the Broncos. I don't know why I want to pick the Broncos, but I'll pick the Colts. The Ravens at the Giants. Give me the Ravens. Don't overthink it. The Bucs at the Chargers. Give me the Chargers in a duel. Patriots at the Cardinals. Drake May time. Bills at the Lions. Oh my gosh. Lions. I think that the size of the Lions is going to be a problem for the Bills, especially on the road. The Steelers at the Eagles. Eagles are just better, and they're at home. Falcons at the Raiders. Monday night. Give me the Raiders. Tough place to play. Vegas and Monday night. Lit. Rams at the Niners. They're not losing twice. The Commanders at the Saints. Give me the Saints. The Cowboys at the Panthers. Give me the Cowboys. What? Green Bay at the Seahawks. Ooh. That's tough, man. I'm going to say Green Bay has a really big win. That's tough, though. The Bears at the Vikings. JJ versus Caleb. Vikings defense wins them the game on Monday night. Upset. Week 16. Browns at Bengals. Bengals. I don't think they're going to lose twice, especially at home on Thursday. Texans at the Chiefs. Give me the Texans. Yes, sir. Steelers at the Ravens. Give me the Ravens. They're not going to lose twice to the Steelers. Okay, breaking down the Texans and the Chiefs. I think the depth of the receiving core and all the weapons they have, plus the target on the back of the Chiefs in a big game setting, this game is going to be so hype for the Texans. And I think Stroud is going to make a lot of plays outside of structure. I also feel like the Texans' defensive line can get a little bit of pressure with 4 against Mahomes, and I think they have enough in the secondary to make it interesting. I think it's like a 27-24 type of game, but I think the Texans find a way. Patriots at the Bills. Broncos at the Chargers. Jags at the Raiders. Jacksonville, quarterback. Rams at the Jets. Give me the Jets. I like that matchup for the Jets. The Niners, especially west to east. This is another west to east. I would pick the Dolphins, but my problem is their offensive line against the Niners' defensive line. That's my problem. Like, otherwise, I would pick them here because I think Mike McDaniel would win this game against Kyle. I think in an upset. And they're going to be hard for the Niners to cover. But I like the Niners. Then you've got the Lions at the Bears. I'm going to go... Did the Bears beat the Lions once this year? I'm going to say yes. Jared Goff outdoors in Chicago. I'm going to take Chicago. Giants at the Falcons. Falcons. Eagles. Falcons starting to get going. Eagles at the Commanders. Eagles. Cardinals at the Panthers. Kyler Murray against the other small quarterback. Vikings at the Seahawks. Seahawks at home. Not going to lose again. At home. Back to back. Bucks at the Cowboys. Cowboys. I don't think the Bucks have the pass rush. Saints at the Packers. Packers are better. It's Monday night at home. 2 more weeks. The Chiefs at the Steelers. Chiefs. The Steelers' offense just isn't good enough to win that game. The Ravens at the Texans. I think the Texans have to lose to one of these teams in the AFC. It could be the Ravens. The Ravens' defense, they gave them a lot of problems in that playoff game. So I'm going to go with the Ravens. The Broncos at the Bengals. I'm going to go Cincy, obviously. Chargers at the Patriots. Patriots almost always beat the Chargers, so I'm going to go with the Patriots there. Drake May beats his lookalike. The Titans at the Jags. Jacksonville. The Jets at the Bills. The Bills won't lose twice to the Jets. The Dolphins at the Browns. I'm going to go... I don't know why I'm giving the Dolphins a lot of losses, dude. I kind of want to pick the Browns late in that weather in week 17. The Colts at the Giants. Colts should be the better team by this point in the year. I don't even know who will be playing quarterback for the Giants at this point. It could be Drew Lock. The Raiders at the Saints. Derek Carr revenge game? I think so. The Seahawks at the Bears Thursday night. Oh my goodness. Mike McDonald's defense against that offense, that's going to be a lot of fun. I want to lean towards the Bears. So I'm going to go Bears. Cardinals at the Rams. Rams sweep them. Falcons at the Commanders. Kirk Cousins revenge game. Who are we kidding? The Vikings against the Packers. Packers. Panthers at the Bucks. Bucks. Eagles are going to beat the Cowboys at least once this year. Lions at the Niners. Monday Night Football. Huge game. Might determine the number 1 seed. I don't know what their records are at this point. Okay, so let's think it through. I feel like the Niners, just if their defense plays a little bit better than the NFC Championship, they should win this game at home on Monday night. I thought their defense was in shambles, and they still managed to beat the Lions. I don't know if the Lions have the answers with their defense quite yet, so I'm going to go with the Niners. Week 18, the final week of the season. The Chargers at the Raiders. I think I had the Chargers winning the first game, so I'm going to go Raiders with the second game. Chiefs at the Broncos. I'm going to go Chiefs because I think they're still going to have to play for something. The Texans at the Titans. I'm not sure if the Texans will have to play for anything here, so I'm going to go with Tennessee. The Jags at the Colts. I don't know, though. And they could win anyways. The Jags at the Colts. I'm going to go Indy at home. That's tough, though. Bengals at the Steelers. I don't know what the Bengals are playing for. Steelers at home are tough. We're going to... Oh, man. I'm going to go with Bengals. I just think they're better. I'm going to go Ravens. I just think they're better just because I don't know what they're going to be playing for. The Bills at the Patriots. I'm going to go Bills because the Patriots won't be playing for anything. The Dolphins at the Jets. I'm going to go Jets again. Then we got Seahawks at the Rams. Rams. Niners at the Cardinals. I think the Niners will have to win for the number 1 seed, so I'm going to go Niners. Bears at the Packers. I'm going to say Packers. Commanders at the Cowboys. Don't the Cowboys usually lose this game for stupid reasons? I'm going to go Cowboys, though. Saints at the Bucks. I think I had the Saints beating the Bucks earlier, so I'm going to go Bucks here. The Vikings at the Lions. I'm going to go Lions. And then Panthers at the Falcons. Falcons. Giants at the Eagles. Eagles. There it is. Every single pick. I did it. I did it. I don't know how I did it, and I'm not going to show you my record predictions. I don't even know what they ended up being. It's going to be interesting for me to look at it after this, but Gronk spike the like button if you enjoyed this video. It's Mitch. Thank you so much. So much love to you guys. Subscribe, man, for more NFL content just like this. I'll be doing individual record prediction breakdowns, and that's more realistic to what I actually think is going to happen. This was a lot just for an experiment and for fun, but a lot of my thoughts will carry over into the season. So thanks for watching. Peace, guys.